going on, everybody? How is everybody doing? Welcome back here today to the Just Ballin' podcast. And over the weekend, I gave you guys an episode where I talked about pretty much offseason trade candidates, who I think could get traded, who I think could end up getting traded, and it wouldn't shock me. And then some players that I don't think really are going to get traded, but maybe float around in rumors. You guys really enjoyed that. Bleacher Report came out with basically their version. Well, I guess a different version. It's the trade block big board, and it's trade proposals for top 10 targets, basically. So they think there's 10 top trade targets on the market, and they're going to actually give us 10 full-on trade mock trades for this. And you guys do enjoy this, I'd appreciate you dropping a thumbs up here on YouTube. Let me know what you guys think down below, and it does seem like you guys enjoy these. So, hey, if you guys enjoy them, I'm just going to keep doing them. And it's nice to separate some of this reaction content here on the podcast because I don't have a co-host. Therefore, this allows me to just kind of talk about some ideas that are on my own, which I do like. And if you guys maybe want anybody on the pod, you could definitely let me know for sure, because I think it is nice to at least get somebody other like point of views. And this is a good way to get this article here. And I don't like to put these on my Srosh channel anymore. So let's hop right into this. I'm excited. So first up, we got Mark Williams of the Charlotte Hornets, a player that I definitely brought up. And I feel like there is a good chance now, sneak peek of my post March Madness mock draft, I believe I'm going to have command value watch to the Charlotte Hornets. So, I do think like the Charlotte Hornets are going to trade Mark Williams, and I think they could draft Kaman if Edgecombe, Bailey, Harper, and Cooper Flagg are on the board or off the board, and they fall past pick 4, and he was already traded once, so who's to say they're not going to do it again? This trade is Mitchell Robinson and 2 second-round picks for Mark Williams. I mean, as a Knicks fan, you're going from one injury-prone center to maybe another. Like, the knock on Mark Williams and the reason why that trade got rescinded was something in the medical, and he's had his his injury history just being 3 years into the league. But I don't know. I mean, well, actually, this is technically his third. Yeah, his third year in the league. But Mitchell Robinson has also had his injury concerns, and the Knicks, you know what? Robinson's got 1 year left on his deal, around $14 or $15 million. I'm surprised it would only cost 2 seconds for the Knicks to get this done. Honestly, if I'm the Knicks, I think I would do this just because you can re-up Mark Williams on maybe an extension that doesn't look as bad as like what you may think. Like, say Mitchell Robinson, I think he signed, it's like around like 4 years, 60 million, give or take. It averaged like close to 15 million a year. Like, what if you're able to get Mark Williams on that? Or I mean, there is the injury concerns, like I said, but Mark Williams is a good athlete. Mitchell Robinson, I do believe, is a better rim protector. Mark Williams could get there one day. We'll see. I'm just thinking if the Hornets did this, they would maybe want a first-round pick 1. 2, they would maybe want a more healthier, like, center from the past. Like, Mitchell Robinson does not have the best track record in that sense. And, yeah, I mean, if I'm the Knicks, you get a little bit younger, but you can re-up that deal. And Mitchell Robinson, honestly, like, he'd probably take the same deal again with his injury concerns, as the Knicks are probably just trying to leverage whatever that contract is for the next guy. Like, I mean, in a perfect world, I'm sure they're able to get involved in a Kevin Durant, Phoenix Suns 3-team trade. They don't get Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant goes to Minnesota, and they can maybe give Phoenix Mitchell Robinson for Dante DiVincenzo. And we can get the Nova Knicks back. I mean, the only way that happens, yeah, if DiVincenzo was on the table in a Suns trade, and the Suns do need some big men. So, wow, what if that really happened? What if we're able to get DiVincenzo back on the Knicks this offseason? Because that would only, like I said, it would only have to happen if Kevin Durant is going to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. But yeah, I just think the Hornets would be better off just maybe trying to get an additional first-round pick, especially in this draft or 2026. Like, they got, a swap of first and Dalton Connect. I don't think Dalton Connect has a ton of value given his age as a rookie and his defensive liability, but I do think he may have close to the value that Mitchell Robinson would have. So I feel like he would go for a little bit more. I feel like the Hornets would say no. I think the Knicks would actually do this, but there is some risk to it for sure. So next up, we got Jabari Smith Jr. This is a big one. This is Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., Cam Whitmore, and 2 first-round picks for Devin Booker. So you're not trading for Kevin Durant. You're getting Devin freaking Booker, who's in the middle of his prime. Now, the Rockets, I think they're like a 90% chance they're going to lock up the 2 seed in the Western Conference, and they've had some really good wins as of late. And like especially against the OKC Thunder, they beat the Denver, or they barely lost to the Denver Nuggets. Either way, this team, I wonder what happens like in the playoffs that will really ultimately decide what they do in the offseason. Like, do you think there's a better chance that they trade for Kevin Durant or Devin Booker if they're a first round exit, or say they win a round and they go to like, I forget if Bill Simmons said this on his podcast. They go to like 7 games. I think that's where I heard it. And they're basically like a couple plays away. Do they think like, all right, we're this close, let's go get Kevin Durant or Devin Booker, or do they have to have like a disappointing round one exit and they're like, all right, this core is not going to put it together? Because low key, I like this core, man. Like Jalen Green, I think I'm coming around on Jalen Green. There is some bad for sure still in his game, and he could be inconsistent at times, which is frustrating, but he just plays out there. He gives that like 100% effort sometimes, most of the time. And he's an incredible athlete. And I just appreciate availability. And he has missed like barely any time in his 4-year career. I mean, Amen Thompson's basically a unicorn right now, and he may win DPOY. He may end up on all defensive first team. Şengün was an all-star this year and plays with such high intensity. I'm all for this trade. I know it sucks trading away Jalen Green, but you're more than happy trading away Jabari Smith Jr. and Cam Whitmore. But you'd rather have Devin Booker than Jalen Green any day of the week, and you get to keep Amen Thompson. You get to keep Alperen Şengün. I'm 100% doing this if I'm Phoenix. Excuse me, if I'm Houston. If I'm Phoenix, though, I'm being stubborn. I'm like, if you want our franchise superstar, a top 3 player in our franchise history, you have to give us Amen Thompson, which then I think like talks would stall, and I would ask for Şengün out of it instead of Jalen Green, and you can reroute Jalen Green somewhere else. I don't think I would accept this if I'm Phoenix. I'm in no rush to move Devin Booker. Now, if I could trade Kevin Durant for this package minus Jabari Smith Jr., I would think about that. I know Jalen Green and Phoenix doesn't really make a ton of sense. I mean, I would do this if you can get Jabari Smith, Cam Whitmore, 2 first. If I'm Phoenix, for 100% for Kevin Durant. There's just also just a ton of risk for Houston trading for Kevin Durant, who's 36 years old, about to be on an expiring contract. And we are like, Kevin Durant is still an incredible player, but we're years away from 2018, 2019 KD. We're even years away from 2021 Brooklyn KD. And I don't know. He hasn't had the best track record. What if him and Ime Udoka butt heads, right? Like, there's just some risks to trading for Kevin Durant. He's not a sure thing like he used to be. Next up, we have Nick Claxton, Brooklyn Nets. I'm interested to see what this trade is going to be. So it's a Lakers one. The Lakers did not get Mark Williams at the deadline. They're proposing Rui Hachimura, Dalton Connect, and a future first-round pick and a future pick swap. If I'm Brooklyn, I am driving Nick Claxton to LA from Brooklyn. 100% I'm doing this trade because these next few years are probably going to be some of the better years of Nick Claxton's career, as these rim running, alley-oop catching, like solid screen setting big men that are very one-dimensional offensively, they don't really age the best after 30 years old because their athleticism, their quickness, their first step could drop a little bit. They're vertical. These might be some of the best years of Nick Claxton's career. Now he got this new extension. You're not going to be good over the next 3 years. So yeah, Claxton could be a fine big man, like a Clint Capella type arc. But if you look at what Clint, or if you watch any of like old Rockets games to Hawks games now, and you could see the drop off of Clint Capella, hey, if you catch a lot of alley-oops, it's a lot on your body, especially for these guys that are like 7 feet tall. I am 100% selling high on Nick Claxton this offseason. I don't think the Lakers should do this. I think you could probably find a better center on the market. I like Mark Williams more than Claxton, but Claxton's a little bit more available and has been a little bit more healthy in the past. I mean, you're not really losing too much sleep if you're the Lakers here, and they need size, they need rim protection. I would do this if I'm Brooklyn because you have the Rui Hachimura piece that you could either flip or it could just add to your depth. You have the Dalton Connect shooting piece, which could be a nice connecting piece to like some young point guard you bring in or young big man. You get a future first rounder and a future swap. I assume the first rounder may have protections on it. I would take the swap. I mean, who knows what the Lakers are going to be in 5 years? They're going to have Luka Doncic. I'm sure they're going to be fine, but you could end up being better than them, and you can just now flip these assets for Giannis or whoever comes available down the line. Yeah, I love this trade for the Nets. I think this is a little too rich for me if I'm the Lakers, though. Next up, we got Cam Johnson. So Cam Johnson to Detroit. Love that. For Tobias Harris and 2 lightly protected future first-round picks. Yeah, you just got to eat Tobias Harris for 1 year, which is fine. But if I'm getting like top 3, top 5 protected first from Detroit, which I don't think Detroit's ever going to be that bad again. I don't think Detroit's going to be picking in like the high 20s anytime soon. Like these picks could be 15 to 20 if this is going to be like a 2025, or they can't trade this year's first. So 2026, 2028 first, like if this trade happened on draft night, I'm cool with that, honestly, because Cam Johnson has 2 years left. I think that's a fairly realistic trade. I think that's a win-win because next 2 years, maybe the last like two really high level years of Cam Johnson's career on this contract. And then you'll have to pay him again. But I think he in Detroit's system would work so well. Tim Hardaway Jr. is a free agent. Who knows if Malik Beasley can exactly replicate what he did, and I'm sure they're going to give him a nice extension. But I'm getting like a sure thing who's played in big games around Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren going forward and Cam Johnson. And it's not costing you Malik Beasley. It's not costing you any of your young assets. It's not even costing you Isaiah Stewart. You do have to move those first round picks, but I'm fine with that. I think I'm fine with that. Like Tobias Harris, like I don't really think you need Tobias Harris in 2026 in this role. I think Cam Johnson is an upgrade. 2 firsts, obviously, is like kind of stinks for you, Detroit, because you'd maybe like to hold onto those firsts to get a bigger name. But I mean, you're going to have all your first round picks back after the Timberwolves get your first this year, which is pretty much confirmed. And I don't know, you're fine trading your 26 first because you think you're going to be fine then. I think you're fine. I think you're fine. I would do that if I was Detroit. I would do that if I were Brooklyn. I think that's a win-win trade. Obviously for Brooklyn, maybe you'd like some picks that can have a better chance of moving up. Maybe if OKC or Houston gave you a Phoenix or a different first, sure, that would be better. But I think you would take that going forward. So we got a Lauri Markkanen idea. I'm trying to even think who should even trade for Markkanen. Big contract. How does he look in a completely new system? It's going to be like his 4th system of his career. I mean, he's played in multiple in like Chicago, but then his 1 year in Cleveland, last 3 years in Utah. We know what he is. I'm intrigued. What's the package? So, okay. Interesting. Lauri Markkanen's going to Portland in this trade, and the Utah Jazz are receiving Jeremy Grant, Robert Williams, and 2 future first-round picks. Full stop. I don't think Utah does. I don't think Portland does this. If I'm Utah, I mean, this is not the best return because Jeremy Grant has a bad contract for the next 3 years that you're paying him around $35 million to. Robert Williams is just a big man piece that is going to be Walker Kessler's backup. And you do get 2 future first round picks. Now, what picks are those? They're not really going to go too much in detail there. I don't know. I actually don't really like this trade for either team because if I'm Utah, I mean, the first rounders, like that could be a first rounder from Boston. That could be a first rounder from Milwaukee. Do they have a first rounder from Boston? They might. From the Jrue Holiday trade, right? Yeah, I think they do. And they have one from Milwaukee from the Damian Lillard trade. I forget exactly. Well, they gave, I think, one of the Milwaukee's to Washington in the Denny Bub Carrington trade. But either way, like, even if it's a Portland first, that, like, one of those first could have some value. But that player return, like, Robert Williams is not the Celtics' Robert Williams. We have to kind of come to agreement on that, and to realization. It just doesn't look like the same. And that's like the same thing with, like, what I was talking about with Claxton before now. Robert Williams has had way more injury concerns in his career than Claxton, but I mean, he's not the rim running lob threat he used to be. He's still a good athlete, but that is just going to diminish as he gets older and older and closer to 30 years old. Jeremy Grant's like a negative asset at this point. Unless one of those first round picks is like a nice one, I'm kind of staying away from this trade. I would want at least a young piece. I mean, do I really want Chris Murray? Do I really want Ryan Rupert? I don't think that moves the needle, and you're not getting any of the premier assets. As for Portland, I don't know if I would do this either. Like, I'm cool with just Scoot, Sharp, Kamara, Denny, and Klingon getting, I don't know, whatever, 500 plus minutes, like, right away next year, and then playing a ton together and getting a lot of reps and starting 65 games together if they could stay healthy. That's what I want to see next year. You're going to add a lottery pick from this draft since you're not making the playing tournament. You still have Anthony Simons. What if you could trade him? Like, I'm calling up Orlando the first day I can make a trade, and I'm saying, you want some shooting? We'll give you Anthony Simons for your first round pick. I would do that. Either way, I don't think this trade really benefits either team. I see the Utah vision. I think for Portland, stay the course internally. I mean, you get off the Jeremy Grant contract, but Markkanen is making a lot of money. He's better than Jeremy Grant. I don't think it's worth it for Markkanen. LaMelo Ball, what do we got here? LaMelo Ball to Orlando. So we have an in-division trade for Anthony Black, KCP, and 2 first-round picks. Now, I think LaMelo Ball is going to fall into the bucket where he is way more valuable to his current team. I think there's some guards like that in this league that we're going to see their names coming up this offseason. Like John Morant, Memphis would think they're going to get way more than they actually would, and Trae Young in Atlanta. These guys are extremely valuable, but more so to the team they're currently on because they also mean more to the city. They've developed them. They've been with them since they've been drafted. I think it would take a lot more for Charlotte to trade away LaMelo Ball, who you can make an argument in the last 15 years, he's their most talented player. He could be their most talented player in franchise history, technically. Like, I was there for the Kemba Walker days. I watched a ton of that game, the Hornets Bobcats basketball. And I remember how good he was. I'm not even using recency bias, but like LaMelo's peak is going to be better than Kemba's peak if we can get there, if he can stay healthy. I'm only making this trade if I'm Charlotte. And I think one, I can land either Cooper Flag or Dylan Harper. Two, I'm really not convinced LaMelo is going to be healthy for a long time. And three, maybe he's going to leave us as soon as he can in free agency or request a trade. So yeah, that's the only reasons why I'm doing this. If not, if LaMelo is committed to winning in Charlotte and he's going to be healthy at the start of next year's season, I'm not selling him for Anthony Black, who really hasn't shown much improvement in year two. He's improved, but not the player that we thought at times he could have been coming out of Arkansas. KCP is a bad contract now. Fine veteran, but a bad contract. And I'm getting 2 first-round picks for LaMelo Ball, who, like I said, is one of your most talented players in franchise history. That's nearly not going to be enough. I know you're not getting Suggs, Franz, and Paolo, but I'm asking for, I don't know, 4 first-round picks. I'm asking for a lot. Like, if you want me to trade away my franchise star, if I'm Orlando, I probably do this. I'm trying to think what point guard would fit best for Orlando between LaMelo or Trey, because you want somebody that can still initiate and facilitate, but you also want somebody that could be a good shooter. That's why I don't think Ja Morant would ever make sense there in Orlando. Can we get Devin Booker in Orlando? But now you'd have to give up one of the big 3 of Suggs, Franz, and Paolo, which you'd like to keep. Then you're going to get into the second apron with all those massive contracts going forward. I don't really think either team needs to make this trade right now, to be honest with you. I think maybe the Rockets could go after LaMelo. I don't think the Clippers would make a lot of sense. Sacramento, no. I don't know. I don't really think there's a LaMelo trade that both parties would want to do this offseason. So we got Zion. Can I predict what team Zion? Zion to Atlanta? No. We got Zion to Detroit for Tobias Harris, Ron Holland, Bobby Clipman, and a future first-round pick. Once again, I think Zion could fall into that bucket with LaMelo Ball, Ja, and Trae Young. I don't think he means that much to the city of New Orleans, but I think for New Orleans, why make this trade? Tobias Harris is just salary filler. Bobby Clipman is still ways away as a prospect, and we didn't even get to see much from him this year. Holland has shown defensive flashes this year. I wonder how much the offense is going to progress going forward, and I think there is still something in there. But what's his peak? I mean, can he be Herb Jones defensively? Can he be Trey Murphy offensively? I don't think you need somebody like Ron Holland. You're not getting a franchise point guard or center, which you may need here in trading Zion. You don't need another wing with Hawkins and all those guys and Bruce Brown in that locker room. Also, this could depend on what happens with the lottery. And you get a future first-round pick from Detroit who's going to have Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Malik Beasley, Duren, Zion. That pick's never going to have much value. I'm saying no to this 100% if I'm New Orleans. I think Zion, I know there's the health concerns every year, but we had a healthy Zion season in 2024. Who's to say we can't get one of those every other year? And I think that's alone makes it worth not to do this deal, I think. If I'm Detroit, I'm doing this 100%. I'm driving these guys from Detroit to NOLA immediately. I just don't think you're going to get Zion for that cheap. I also, maybe, I wonder if they get Cooper Flag, right? New Orleans. Would that make you be like, all right, we have our guy we want to build around? Let's trade Zion? Or do you think you could win with Flag and Zion? I'd give it a shot. It sucks we never got to see AD and Zion together because they technically overlapped for not too long. I mean, the lottery was in May. I forget when AD got traded. I believe, yeah, it was before the draft. We never got to see them together. I would give it a shot with Flag and Zion. Now, if you don't get Flag, say you get Dylan Harper, do you think about trading Zion and building out the depth of this team even more? Maybe, but man, when Zion's healthy, he could be a top 10 player in the league. It's just a big F. Next up, we have Trae Young. What the? I think both fan bases would hate this. We have Trae Young for Ja Morant straight up. So why would the Grizzlies do it? They mentioned the Grizzlies would obviously prefer Young's durability. Okay, fair. But they also might view his top shelf table setting and deep shooting range as on-court upgrades over Morant's downhill attacking. And why would the Hawks do it? They haven't won a playoff series since crashing the 2021 ECF. They could sense some things are growing stale with Young, who they've tasked with the lowest usage percentage since his rookie year. A healthy Morant could be a game changer, and he's never had as much turnover trouble or as many defensive shortcomings as Young. Oh, man. I don't know, man. I don't know what fan base would rather not, who would say no in this deal? I feel like, I don't know. I don't know what team would say no more. I think both teams would say no. I mean, I'm intrigued with Trae Young and Jaren Jackson Jr. together, and I'm very intrigued with John Dyson and Jalen Johnson and Reese Shea together. I mean, this intrigues me 100%. Like I said, though, I just don't think either team would say yes because I think it's like a lateral move for the most part. I mean, one team, I mean, it might seem like a lateral move actually, but I feel like if this trade happened, one team, it would not gel well. And if I had to guess, it'd probably be Ja Morant in Atlanta. But because I do think Ja Morant is a ceiling raiser and Trey Young is a floor raiser. Like, I think you could probably put Trey Young on a lot of bad teams and can at least make them look competitive. And I think Ja Morant you could put on like an already good team, but he can really take it up a notch with his clutch gene. I mean, Trey's been clutch this year as well, but you do value Ja's defense a little bit more than Trey. I mean, Ja, like, I know he's had some durability issues over the last 3 years, but there was the suspension. There was the shoulder injury in 2024. And this year, he's kind of like rehabbed into things again. So this would be kind of crazy. That does feel like a 2K level trade. I'm interested on this Domantas Sabonis Kings thing. Who's the next player here? Because I assume number one is going to be Giannis or Kate. No, probably KD. But Sabonis, like, who would want to give up valuable assets for Sabonis? Because you really have to like change your offensive identity around him for how much he needs the ball in the post, how he wants to be a hub there. I mean, he's been a little bit better of a 3-point shooter this year. The defense still isn't great. Like, is he better suited as a power forward or a center? I actually wouldn't have mind to see Domantas Sabonis in New Orleans. But Brooklyn, who I had a feeling is the offer here. Nick Claxton, Maxwell Lewis, and 2 future first-round picks. Yeah, I don't agree with that for Sacramento's side. They say Sabonis might be less than sold on Sacramento's long-term outlook. So basically, De'Aaron Fox 2.0. But I just don't think Nick Claxton really moves the needle there in Brooklyn at all. Maxwell Lewis, nice. And 2 first-round picks. Like, those could even be the most valuable first-round picks. I don't know if that'd be Dallas's that Brooklyn owns or Philly's or New York's. But I don't think that's going to be enough for me to move Sabonis. Like, why at this point if you're Sacramento? Brooklyn, I would probably do this. But, like, I also don't know if they should make this move right now. I would wait and go after a bigger name eventually. And then we do have Kevin Durant as the number one guy here. To Dallas, okay? So it's not the Houston deal. It's for Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Jaden Hardy, and 2 first-round picks. Does this work financially? I am not sure, honestly. I thought Gafford had to be in this deal. But, I mean, PJ Washington's a free agent in 2026. I'm okay moving Klay. I'm moving Jaden Hardy, which hurts, but, you know, at the end of the day, I'd rather, I guess, keep Gafford than Hardy, even though Gafford's a 2026 free agent. And 2 first-round picks, I mean, is one of those from the Lakers. Can you move, like, when are you going to move your first-round pick in that deal? I don't hate this if I'm Dallas, and I mean, I wish Kyrie was healthy. Kyrie and KD one last time with Anthony Davis. I mean, KD and AD, I wish we saw that 3 years ago, 2 years ago, even this year, healthy, but I don't know how it's going to be when KD's 36 and AD's going to be 32, almost 33. But I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't super intrigued about Kevin Durant trying to win a title in Dallas before he retired. I really would be. And then there was like a rumor that KD would take like a minimum re-signing. I don't even know if you could do that because I don't know if it has to be a percentage of your cap. I assume you can take a massive discount. I don't know if it could be the minimum. But Kevin Durant in Dallas does intrigue me. And you can have Kyrie, you can have Max Christie, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, and Gafford/Lively. Man, I would be lying if I said I wasn't intrigued. And you'll have Caleb Martin off the bench. You'll have Najee Marshall off the bench. You'll have your first round pick this year maybe off the bench. Dinwiddie even can provide you productive minutes. I mean, I want to see Kevin Durant, I think, in Dallas more than I want to see him in Houston. But yeah, you're leveraging a lot into this older core in Dallas. So I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the Just Ballin' podcast. If you did, I'd appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Over the next few weeks, you guys may get like 1 episode less than usual per week, only because it's like perfect timing. I'm actually going to Europe for the first time in my life. And it's like, when I say perfect timing, it's kind of the worst timing for the NBA schedule. I'm flying out of New York Saturday night. So it's like 6 p.m. There's no basketball Saturday because the season ends Sunday. And Sunday, I land in Spain at like 7 a.m. their time. So I guess that's like 2 a.m. New York time. And then I got to take a train from Madrid to another city in Spain. And then I'm spending like a couple days in Italy. So I'm basically gone from like Saturday to the following, like not Monday, 2 days later, the following Monday, which is all throughout the playing tournament. I'm watching playing tournament basketball at 3 a.m. in Italy. It's going to be so much fun. Probably the first game or two of some series as well. So yeah, there's going to be some interesting kind of schedule and quirks that I'm going to have to work around and kind of have to get creative with. But I definitely am going to drop maybe like a Sporkle quiz video or two on this because I won't be able to make a pod about the playing tournament or when we finally get the playoff seeding on this channel. At least I am gonna, I think, just bring my equipment for my playoff prediction video on the Straws channel, because that's one I would like to get out, that I'll sacrifice waking up at like 5 a.m. in the coffee to make that. So yeah, thank you all for watching and listening. Just wanted to give a little bit of an update there, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.